This is Bobby C. reporting from Times Square. Racing legend Danica Patrick and I are heading to the Indianapolis 500. Will the real Danica Patrick please stand up? Patrick will complete her iconic racing career Sunday in the 102nd running of the greatest spectacle in racing. She was in New York Tuesday to pub the largest one-day sporting event in the country and to join toy builder Lego in unveiling a statue in her honor.
I feel like I've been so fortunate in my career to have so many great fans, so many great sponsors, so many opportunities, so many great successes, and so when you're reminded of that in ways like having your own Lego sculpture of yourself, it gives you a little bit of perspective.
It's really cool getting to do these types of events where you're unveiling it with the actual person who you've actually made. It's endless creativity. You can build anything you want with Lego, and that's really what this model is here to help do. Not only is it to celebrate Danica Patrick's retirement and her final race here with IndyCar, but just to see the reaction of the fans and kids and just inspire creativity is why we do this.
Patrick is the highest female finisher in Indy 500 history, and she'll have one more shot at the famed milk and bricks in the winner's circle this Sunday.
When the idea about finishing up at Daytona came, I was like, well, what about Indy? And I really was only talking about doing the Indy 500 this year. It's a great way to kind of honor where I've been, to be able to have one last go, be able to thank the fans and be there, and to finish up where it all started 13 years ago. Lucky number 13 is really cool.
The 36-year-old Patrick was the first female driver to lead laps and score a top 5 finish at the Indianapolis 500 in 2005. She was the first woman to win a Major League open-wheel race in a North American series, and she is the only woman to win a NASCAR Cup Series pole. She set the fastest time in qualifying for the Daytona 500 in 2013 and then finished in 8th place, the highest finishing position ever for a woman. More on Patrick in the C-list. As for the big race itself, ABC will be airing the Indy 500 with pre-race coverage beginning Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The command for drivers to start their engines will take place at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and the race will unfold at 12:19. The 500-mile competition will feature 33 drivers. Ed Carpenter has taken the top starting spot for the 3rd year in a row. Drivers Simon Pagenaud and Will Power will join him in row 1 and in the number 2 and number 3 spots, respectively. Patrick, Carpenter's teammate, has qualified for 7th in the final start of her career, meaning she'll start in row number 3. This is a huge weekend for motorsport racing. Formula One is in Monaco, and of course, there have been plenty of moments that have shaped F1's legendary race in Monte Carlo. That Senna lap, that Schumacher stunt, and when dominant races go wrong, of course. After 5 rounds of this thrilling season, Mercedes heads to Monaco with the momentum after back-to-back victories. Can they make it a hat trick in Monte Carlo, or will Sebastian Vettel get his and Ferrari's respective championship quests back on track? That is the question. Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton is the man to beat. The defending champion currently leads the standings with 95 points, 17 over his closest rival, Ferrari's Vettel. In MotoGP, another race, another victory for Marc Marquez. The Honda rider won the French GP and remains in first place in the standings with 3 victories to date. Up next for the best motorcycle riders in the world, Italy on June 3rd. We'll keep focused on horsepower, but shift gears to another kind of horsepower. Last weekend's Preakness Stakes will be remembered for rain, and more rain, an eerie fog that engulfed Pimlico, and a brilliant effort by undefeated Kentucky Derby winner Justify that kept alive trainer Bob Baffert's bid for a second Triple Crown as the Chestnut Colt notched a half-length win. The 150th Belmont Stakes runs Saturday, June 9th from Belmont Park. Justify is 1 victory away from horse racing's coveted Triple Crown. He's going off at 4-5 at several major sports books. On the ice, longtime NHL executive Lou Lamoriello is coming to the New York Islanders. The Islanders named him their president of hockey operations on Tuesday, giving the longtime executive complete control over an organization that has made only 3 playoff appearances in the past decade. The 75-year-old legend spent the past 3 seasons as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs after winning 3 Stanley Cups in a near nearly three-decade tenure running the New Jersey Devils. His son Chris has worked for the Islanders since August 2016 and currently serves as the team's assistant general manager. The 2017-18 NHL season has been a needed reminder that we're still capable of seeing surprises year in and year out. The Vegas Golden Knights, who are listed with odds as high as 500 to 1 to win the championship before the season started, are not supposed to be representing the Western Conference in the upcoming Stanley Cup final, but they are. To claim a conference title in your first year of existence is nearly unthinkable. The Knights are just the second expansion team to make it to the finals in a Big Four American sport since 1960, following in the footsteps of the 1967-68 St. Louis Blues, who accomplished their feat when the NHL had just 12 teams, 6 of which were expansion franchises. That is remarkable. It might be remarkable that anyone believes in Jets backup quarterback Christian Hackenberg, but apparently Raiders coach John Gruden does. The Hackenberg era ended in New York before it started, and that's on the Jets, specifically general manager Mike Maccagnan, whose second-round reach in 2016 will be remembered as one of the franchise's all-time draft clunkers. Hackenberg's mechanics were a mess. His confidence was shot after 3 up-and-down seasons at Penn State. The Raiders sent a 7th-rounder to the Jets for Hackenberg this week. Gruden believes he can make something out of the former second-rounder. On the baseball diamond, the Bronx Bombers continue to play well, going back and forth with the Boston Red Sox for first place. They were tripped up earlier in the week by the Texas Rangers and their ace, Cole Hamels, who limited the potent offense to 4 hits over 7 innings. It could have been an audition for Hamels, who is rumored to be on the Yanks' radar. The lefty, who was the 2008 World Series MVP, said he would be open to pitching for a playoff team. He would have to waive his no-trade clause to come to the Bronx. Across town, the New York Mets have a new addition. Jose Bautista was sitting on his couch at home in Florida when the call came Tuesday afternoon. He had a new job with the Amazons. So the former home run champ hustled to the airport in Tampa, Florida, hurried to Citi Field. The 6-time All-Star hit a double in his first at-bat in a 5-1 loss to Miami on Tuesday night. The signing will help the Mets, who have been dealing with injuries, especially the loss of slugger Yoenis Cespedes, who is on the DL. There will be a new home run derby king at this year's signature All-Star Game event. Yankee slugger Aaron Judge told the New York Post on Tuesday that he will sit out the annual home run hitting contest scheduled for July 16th at Nationals Park in Washington during this year's All-Star Game festivities. Angels two-way star Shohei Ohtani said he would be honored to be talked about potentially participating in the home run derby during this year's All-Star break. The Japanese phenom has 6 homers as a part-time DH. Judge won last year's competition at Marlins Park. He became the 4th Yankee player to win the derby, joining Tino Martinez in 1997, Jason Giambi in 2002, and Robinson Cano in 2011. Judge, the reigning American League Rookie of the Year and AL home run champion, dismissed any chance that he would change his mind by this year's All-Star break, even if MLB pressured him to participate. On the WNBA hardwood, the New York Liberty opened the season in a defeat to Chicago last Sunday. They are back in action tonight, hosting Minnesota. And MLS soccer, New York City Football Club is in Houston to face the Dynamo tonight. The club is in 2nd place behind Atlanta United in the MLS standings. The New York Red Bulls are not far behind. They're in 4th place. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a final thought on Danica Patrick and the Indy 500. Become the first woman to host the ESPYs, breaking another barrier when she takes the microphone for ESPN's 26th annual awards show July 18th at Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. She ended her media tour Tuesday in New York with an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Patrick has a special connection to the ESPYs. She said she was first introduced to her current boyfriend, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, at the event. As mentioned, her IndyCar resume is pretty impressive. When it's all said and done, she might be remembered more for her track time in NASCAR. For this C-list, we asked the question, is Danica a NASCAR Hall of Famer? Patrick doesn't have a Cup Series win on her resume, but that doesn't necessarily preclude her from NASCAR Hall of Fame consideration. As a pioneer, Patrick is still the only woman to win a pole in the NASCAR Cup Series, which she did for the 2013 Daytona 500. She finished 8th in that race, the highest finish of any female driver in the Daytona 500. She holds the record for number of top 10 finishes by a female driver with 7. Her career best finish of 6th at Atlanta in 2014 is the best of any female driver other than Sarah Christensen, who finished 5th in a field of 23 cars in 1949, the second year of NASCAR. I'll be rooting for Danica on Sunday. That would make for a great story. And of course, our Bronxnet cameras will be there to capture it. Patrick is listed at 30-1 odds to win the 2018 Indianapolis 500 at the Westgate Las Vegas Superbook after leaving the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series as a full-time driver following the 2017 season. Patrick put together the Danica double, including starts at both NASCAR's Daytona 500 and now IndyCar's Indy 500. Social media poll question time: is Danica a Hall of Famer? Question mark. Will she win the 500 on Sunday? Question mark. And if not her, who are you taking on Sunday? Early favorites include Alexander Rossi, winner of the 2016 Indy 500, Joseph Newgarden, the reigning league champ, and both Scott Dixon and Simon Pagenaud. Other drivers of note include 3-time race winner Elio Castro-Nieves, back with Penske racing for the 500, and 2013 champion and fan favorite Tony Kanaan. Vroom, vroom. Enjoy the race and the holiday. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.